Hello VC, what's going on? It's me, Will, and I'm back with a new video, and this one's gonna be all about live music. Someone in my last video asked me a question in the comments. They asked me if I was able to go to a lot of concerts this year, and the answer is yes. I actually was able to go to a lot of concerts in 2021. Especially considering that last year was by far the worst year for live music in a very long time. For obvious reasons, there were pretty much there were very few concerts back in 2020. I think at the end of last year I was able to make my year-end video of my top 7 concerts of 2020. Because I only went to 7 concerts in 2020. This year was much better. I actually was able to go to about 23 concerts this year, at least so far this year, which is good compared to last year, but it's still not as good as a normal year for me. I normally go to somewhere in between 30 to 40 or sometimes even 50 concerts in a normal year. But yeah, anyways, I was glad that I was able to still go to a lot of live shows in 2021. So this year, or in this video, I'm gonna do a quick summary or a year-end countdown of my top 10 concerts that I went to in 2021. So let's start off with number 10, and it's one of my favorite local bands. It's Gringo Star playing live at the Earl back in November 25 of 2021. And not much to say here besides what I've said before about Gringo Star in the past. If you watch my videos, you know about them. It's one of my favorite local bands. One of my favorite bands to see live, especially at the Earl, which is one of my favorite venues in Atlanta. Very small, very intimate kind of venue. And they always bring it when they play live. Lots of great tunes. They play all their hits. They brought all the energy, and the crowd was really into the music. So yeah, that was my number 10, Gringo Star playing live at the Earl. Alright, coming in at number 9 is Nation of Language playing live at the Earl back in October 29. And this is a new band for me. I wasn't very familiar with their music before I went to see them live. My wife is a huge fan of the band, especially of their newest album that came out this year. So she got us tickets to go see them. I wasn't really expecting too much because I was not familiar with their music. And they absolutely blew me away with their performance. Great energy in their venue, in their show. And also you heard me say this in my last video, but the opening band is a band called The Once. I think they're also from New York, and they were also excellent. So both of the bands that played in that show were really good. Again, lots of great energy, great vibes throughout the whole concert. Highly recommend that you check out Nation of Language, especially their newest album that came out this year, I believe. Check them out. And coming in at number 8 is Cloud Nothings with their set at Shaky Knees. in October 23. Shakinese is, of course, the music festival here in Atlanta, one of the best music festivals in the country, in my opinion. And they played a really good set here in Shakinese, as usual. They have played in Shakinese in the past, and they came back this year. And they played in one of the smaller stages in the festival, which in my opinion is a little bit better because you get to see them a little bit closer compared to seeing them in a big stage where it tends to be a little bit more crowded here up there in the front. But anyways, they really brought it this year at Shakinese. Lots of energy again. Their newest album is also really good. They played quite a bit of songs from the new album. And the crowd really brought it in this concert. There were people crowd surfing all over the place. Great set from Cloud Nothings with their set at Shakinese. That's my number 8 of 2021. And coming in at number 7, I'm a big fan of this artist, is Waxahatchee, with her show at the Variety Playhouse here in Atlanta, and that was back in October 5 of this year. And I was really looking forward to see Waxahatchee live last year because her newest album was really good. Actually made it to my top 10 of the year at number 2. So I really enjoyed her last album that came out back in 2020. And I was not able to see her last year for obvious reasons. And fortunately, she was able to play here finally in 2021. She played a lot of the songs from the new album, which are excellent. She brought in a great set at the Variety Playhouse. Her voice was just spectacular. If you haven't seen Waxahatchee live, highly recommend that you check her out because she's excellent. And she also played some of the more popular songs from her last few albums, going back to her first album. And in this new tour, she has a little bit more of a country vibe, which is not typically my thing, but I think it works really well with her voice because she grew up listening to country music. So it's, in my opinion, was a little bit more of an authentic look at Waxahatchee and her origins of how she started listening to music and playing music. And coming in at number 6, this one was another show that I really wanted to see last year. It got postponed to this year. Fortunately, it did not get canceled this year. It was Wilco playing live with Sleater-Kinney. Well, not with Sleater-Kinney, but in the same concert, I guess, at Chastain Park in August 14th. Great set. Chastain Park is an interesting venue in Atlanta because it's all outdoors. It's kind of like an amphitheater. But it's a little bit of a smaller amphitheater, so it feels a little bit more personal, a little bit more intimate. You can see the band a little bit better at this outdoor venue compared to other ones. So it's a great venue for both Sleater-Kinney and Wilco. I'm a bigger fan of Sleater-Kinney, so I really want to see them, but Wilco was also really good. I've only listened to some of their songs in the past, but they really put in a great show at Chastain Park in Atlanta. So I was happy to see both of the bands play live here. And it was just a great set. I think both of the bands played most of their bigger hits, as well as some deep tracks as well. So it was a great show here in Chastain Park. All right, let's move on to my top 5 concerts of 2021. And at number 5 is St. Vincent playing live at Shaky Knees Music Festival. And this one was in October 22 of this year. So it was going to be interesting to see how she was going to be able to pull off playing some of the slower songs from her newest album at the festival stage. And I gotta say that she really pulled it off really well. In fact, I think she rocked out even more than the last time that I saw her when she was touring for her previous album, Mass Seduction. She really brought in the guitars in this one, and I was glad because I love her faster paced, more rocking kind of songs. And she played a lot of the songs from the new album in kind of a little bit of a different kind of vibe to make it more accessible for the music festival attendees, which they usually like the faster paced kind of songs. And it was great. It was great. The whole background of the stage kind of made it, where she made it look like kind of like the album cover of the new album. It was excellent. It was a great set from St. Vincent. That's the St. Vincent, and that's my number 5 of the year. And coming in at number 4, this one is the only one in my list that was not in Atlanta. This one was in Birmingham, Alabama, and I went to see Bully live at the Saturn because I wasn't able to go to the Atlanta concert in her last tour. And this is another artist that I was looking forward to see this year because her tour last year got canceled. And her last album that came out last year is very good as well. It's called Sugar Egg. And yeah, I was really looking forward to seeing her live again and to see her play some of the her newer songs. Great set again from Bully. If you watch my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of her. Very 90s alternative rock and grunge inspired type of music, and she really pulls in that kind of vibe in her live music, in her live shows. Lots of heavy guitar riffs, heavy guitars, loud singing, a little bit screaming as well. So great energy from Bully playing live at the Saturn in Birmingham, which is a very interesting venue. If you haven't been to the Saturn before, it's kind of like a part music venue, part arcade, where you can go and play video games. It's a very interesting. I've never been to a music venue like that before, and hopefully I will go back again to the Saturn in Birmingham. All right, coming in at number 3 is Jeff Rosenstock playing live at the Masquerade, and this one was in December 4 of this year. He played in one of the bigger stages at the Masquerade. If you're familiar with the Masquerade in Atlanta, they have 3 stages, and he played in the bigger one. And it was completely sold out. And this is an artist that I kind of got into him more this year. I was familiar with his music in the past years, but this year I really got into some of his albums, including the latest one that came out last year or this year. I can't remember. I think it was last year, and you can see it here in the background. It's called No Dream. Excellent punk rock album, and he really brought it with his band and the show at the Masquerade. It's a classic punk rock show with lots of people really getting into the music, high energy, lots of crowd surfing. I think he has a lot of really hardcore fans here in Atlanta, because you could tell that the people were really getting into the music. They were getting into moshing and to crowd surfing. That at some point, actually, Jeff had to tell the crowd to just take care of each other, to take care of the people around them, because especially knowing of what happened in Texas earlier this year, where some people died at the music festival, he didn't want something like that to happen, especially in his tour. All right, coming in at number 2 is The Hives with their show from the Shaky Knees Late Night Show at Center Stage. It was in October 23 of 2021. And I'm a huge fan of The Hives. It's one of the first concerts that I ever went to a long time ago. And I still remember that show that I went to. I think it was back in 2002 or 2003. They still got it. That's what I would say about this. They still have all the energy, they still have the look, they still have the music, they still have all the vibe, the great vibe that the Hives bring into the live music. It's, in my opinion, one of the best live bands to see in the world. And yeah, they played late night at Center Stage. It was a great stage for them because it was big enough for the band to play their fast-paced, high-energy type of music. The lead singer of the band, Pele, he has an excellent stage presence. He can be funny, he can be high energy, he can be a little bit obnoxious as well. But he puts in a great show. And of course, the guitar players, and the other band members are also fantastic. They also, as usual, dress up for the occasion in their black and white tuxedos. And their show was great. Both their show at Center Stage for Shaky Knees Late Night, and their show at the festival at Shaky Knees. So that's my number 2, The Hives playing live at Center Stage. And my number 1, I don't think it will be a surprise for anybody out there. It's the Hella Mega Tour with Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer, and the Interrupters playing live at Truist Park, which is the Atlanta Braves stadium. And that one was in July 27th of 2021. It was a show that I was really looking forward to, especially since it got canceled last year. And of course, I'm a huge fan of Green Day. I'm a big fan of Weezer. I wasn't that much into Fall Out Boy, but I still think that they put in a great show at the Hella Mega Tour. And I actually made a full video with my full concert review, which I'll put a link here in the description if you want to check it out. So I won't say too much about the concert. I'll just say that it was a fantastic show, and it was exactly what people like me that are really into live music needed in 2021, especially coming in July when things were still kind of getting a little bit better with COVID and the vaccines were a little bit more available, and finally music was starting to come back that summer. It was just a great vibe overall. People were just happy to be there, finally being able to see live music at the big stage with some of our favorite bands. So great show, and my number one concert of 2021, the Hella Mega Tour with Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer, and special guests, the Interrupters, which by the way, they were great as well, and I have never seen them before. But yeah, that's my number one of the year. I would love to hear about you. What were your favorite concerts of 2021? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.